Today is Thursday, June 26, 2025. I broke my green streak today. I'm only down about $4, which is like 0.1%. Basically just a break-even day. I took 2 trades today. Both trades were basically winners. The caveat to that is on my first trade, when I went to sell, I was selling in profit, but I only filled about 75% of my shares. And by the time I was able to modify the order, then I tried canceling the order, then I modified the order again. By the time I got it filled, I was down several cents a share. And even just that 25% of the hold dropping that low, it turned that green trade into a red trade. I didn't have a lot of time to spend on the market this morning, so I wasn't really able to wait around for breaking new setups like I'm trying to get used to doing. So I saw a decent setup on a dip trade a little while later, and I took that just to snipe a few cents of profit. It wasn't going to be enough to negate. I think at that point I was only down like 16 or 20 bucks, something like that. But I made up most of the loss. Still ended up small red. That's life. One thing that I will say, I'm not upset with the way I traded this morning. The way I clicked buy and sell, I'm pretty happy with. I could have done a better job on my entries, particularly that first trade. But needless to say, I still made a clean entry and a clean exit and profit. The fact that my order didn't fill and then I had to modify it and mess with that, and partially is kind of out of my control in my mind. So at least I didn't just totally get into a shitty setup. So I'm happy about that. And $4, I mean, that's not even worth talking about. So I didn't blow up my account or anything, so that's good news too. It's almost more annoying that I broke my little green streak than it is that I lost $4 in the grand scheme of things. But anyway, I'll show you the trades, and hopefully tomorrow morning, Friday morning, I can go green again and have a green day going into the weekend. All right. This is where I made my first move of the morning on Thursday. The ticker IRD on a 15-second chart. I made my entry right here. Boom. Once we cleared the high of this red candle, I bought in. I tried selling at the top of this. I was thinking we were going to hit the 35, maybe 40 cent mark here. So that's when I went ahead and clicked sell. We only topped out at 32, and we just tickled 32 and came back down to around 23 or 24. I got most of my fill at 27, but about 25% of my shares didn't fill here. So then we were hovering kind of here in these few candles where I was flirting with break even, maybe a cent or two of profit, maybe a cent or two of loss. And by the time I was able to get my friggin' order organized in a way that I could sell the remaining shares I had, we had already dropped down. It was in this red candle. I got out at $1.03 with about 25% of my size right there. So that turned what was kind of a clean, quick snipe of profit. Something that I was very happy with my entry and my exit. I know that was kind of a quick sell, but it was a quick slice of profit to start the morning. Starting green is always awesome for me. Usually I don't. Usually I start red and then have to work to clean it up. So I was excited to just snipe some quick profit, and it still ended up biting me in the ass. By the time I got my orders situated, I was down and had turned this green trade into a red trade. This is where I made my second move of the morning on Thursday. The ticker CYN. This is a 15-second chart. I caught this chart as it came out with breaking news. Started around the $5 mark. And as I'm sitting here shortly after the opening bell, it's halted up a few times. It's halted down a few times. But it got to the high of like $23.50. This thing went to the friggin' moon throughout the course of the morning. I only made 13 bucks on it, but I'll take it and move on. Where I made my entry, not my best entry of all time, but this was more of expecting a little bit of a breakout than it was, a nice pullback entry. We had several nice 15-second candles here. I think I started watching it maybe around these two candles. Where I made my entry was actually on this red candle. This previous candle just flirted with the idea of $9, and it kind of settled down into the 880s, 870s. This candle dropped down to about 840, and then it started climbing back up. I got in the 860s thinking we were going to at least hit 9, if not go to 950, maybe 10. The way this had been moving, this was kind of the first decent pullback that I was able to visualize. Everything else had been just constantly going up. I didn't want to buy while it was still moving. I wanted to wait for at least a small pullback. So we got in here in the 860s. This hit about 895, and then it started coming back down. And I could just the way this candle was forming, I could kind of sense that it was going to consolidate around that $9 mark, and it wasn't going to rip through. It just didn't happen fast enough. And with the previous candle already kind of settling in there, I went ahead and made an exit. I tried to get out in the 880s, but ended up getting filled at 878 on my sell, which was a little over a dime worth of profit. Nothing major. Had I made a better entry, I could have made an entry here on, once this candle broke the previous high or something like that. But needless to say, got green and got out, and I made up pretty much the entire loss from my poor selling expedition on my first trade. So not so bad. I'll take it and, move on with the day.